Hello, everybody. My name is Rose Williams, and I do a lot of stuff online. And one of the main things I do online is a program called MindHack101. All right. So I have a very special guest and a very sweet soul by the name of Bruce Petersen. You're probably going to see more of Bruce because Bruce is at another location and I'm at another location. And we really wanted to do this interview, and we've been trying. So we're not superstars at this yet. This is something that we're just trying. So I'm going to let Bruce talk and chime in, and I'll chime in, and you'll see me later, but you'll hear me in the background. Ladies and gentlemen, Bruce Petersen. Bruce, go
Well,
ahead and
people,
tell the people what you want to know.
tell me what I want to know. I mean, you
You
can
mean
ask
about your
how I got.
about your spiritual journey? How did it get started?
Well, probably when I was 4 years old, I was actually nearly about a month away from my fifth birthday, and I was living on a dairy farm in central part of Wisconsin, state of Wisconsin, outside of a small town called Unity. And unfortunately, my dad passed away. Back then, the tractors, the front two wheels were really close together.
Mm-hmm.
And if you drove those tractors too quickly through the fields, they could hit a rut, grab it and tip it real quick and kill the farmer who was riding it like that. That's what happened to my dad, unfortunately. But so he didn't come home that night. And I knew what was happening. It's just something that filled my mind. It was there. But I also felt like I needed to keep my mouth shut, so I didn't tell anybody because they weren't ready to hear it just yet.
Mm-hmm.
But the next morning, we had family come by the house, and my mom and her friend Bertha were going to go out looking for him. And to my surprise, they grabbed me to go along with. And I said, okay, well, then my brother's going to come too, the whole family. And she said, no, he needs to stay here with the family, and you're coming with us. And I wasn't sure exactly why that was at first. But then they got to the field part, we were all together, and my mom was figuring out where he might be at, kind of logically, where she knew he went out at and all that. She saying, pointing in a direction he might be at. And I said, no, he's over this direction, to the left of where she was pointing at, because I felt the tug in my belly. And they got on either side of me, and they followed me, and I followed the tug in my belly, and led directly to where my dad had passed away at. And that's kind of like the beginning, I guess, the first time I've had, probably thousands of those kinds of experiences all my life. It's just been a normal part of my life, my spirituality. And but like for the law of attraction part, that was actually a separate event. I mean, I didn't attract that; that just came to me naturally. But the law of attraction part was when I was 6 years old. I was born in November, so you start kindergarten when you're age 6. When you start later in the year, born later in the year. And so I went to kindergarten, walked to school, and went into class. And at first everything was just fine. And the teacher, she tried to make a connection between us, and so she said this was her first day of kindergarten too. She's a brand new teacher. And then she told us at one point in time that to go look around the room and find something we wanted to do. And I was looking around, and I saw the stool that she had sat at, and I wanted to sit on that stool, and I wanted to observe the class. That's what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I started to do that. I sat on there, and I started looking at one young boy. He was like coloring, and he had like the sniffles. It's funny, when he sniffled, I felt sniffles in me, and everything was going on well until the teacher saw me, yelled at me and grabbed my arm and pulled me off her chair and said I had to do something that she wanted me to do. And it's like, at that point I realized it wasn't something I wanted to do, it was something that she wanted me to, that she would think that I would want to do. And I was upset. I was very upset, and I was looking for a place to be out of her sight a little bit, so I looked around this corner, and there's a coloring book, and I grabbed it and I opened it up, and I was mad. I'm trying to not press or break the crayons because I was so pissed off. But then I was thinking in my mind, it kind of went in my mind. I learned later on this is called Utamion, Tameion, in the Bible. It's translated as the word closet. And so I went in there, and in my mind, and I was thinking to myself, there's no way I'm going to come back to this classroom. This is my last day or something. And I was thinking, well, how can that happen? Then it popped in my mind, well, your mom can get a new job. I said, yeah, that's it. My mom get this new job, and she gets twice the pay she was getting before, because she wouldn't turn it down then. and it'd be far enough away where I wouldn't have to ever come back to this classroom. And I just thought that really happened, and it just, kind of faded into that blacky inkness of your mind there. And
Uh-huh.
like 30 minutes later, my mom came into that classroom, all excited, all fluff, talking to the teacher and looking for me. She had got a job offer in another town, twice the pay, but she had to go right now. So, I that experience was the first time I did that law of attraction, and that one happened pretty quick because I had the motion and I had the thought of what I desired to come into my life, and I wanted my mom to have a new job so I can get out of that skill.
Wow.
And as I left, I was just looking at her. The teacher had kind of a tear in her eye, but I was a very happy little kid because I never had to go back to her and have her. It was a learning experience then. For her, she was a very brand new teacher. But yeah, that's my first experience with the law of attraction. I didn't call it that at that time. It was just something I did. I desired something differently, and then went in my mind, and it came to pass.
Wow. Okay, Bruce, that's very interesting. So you think everybody can manifest at that level?
Well, everybody's always different. I mean, not everybody can play basketball, right? But not everybody can play at the Michael Jordan level. But unless they exercise it, I mean, that's the thing. I've noticed that there's things that people block themselves off of not being able to do this properly because they were taught that you can't do something, and so we believe it at a young age. We can't do it, so then we don't even try. But when we start to try, I mean, at first, most people can call up an image of their mother's face. That's kind of probably the easiest place to start. I try to work with people on that first, is just call up an image of your mom's face in your mind's eye. And some people can't do that really well, but if they practice, they can develop that until they can. And just once you can see your mom clearly in your mind's eye, then you're ready to go on and do the next step of trying to, of whatever you desire to have come in your life. The best way to do it, that I've been able to do it, is do a little kind of video in the head of doing the thing that you'd like to have come into your life. The Secret talks about this too. I mean, they're pretty good about it. They're focused more on the material part of it, but that adds. I mean, that's a starting place. Is to say you want a new car. Say you want a fancy Corvette, right?
Uh-huh.
Do a little visualization in your mind's eye, a little short video of you driving your new Corvette, and then you'll start to see. You do that. I found it's best to do that at least 3 different times, just to kind of set it in there, and then you'll start seeing circumstances unfold in your life that kind of direct you towards receiving that new Corvette, whichever way is the quickest, easiest way for God to bring it to you.
Okay. All right, Bruce.
Okay.
Wow, that's something
Yeah.
to think about. Well, what do you think
Yeah.
about these? What do you think about these gurus that sell all these big ticket items to tell people how to manifest? What do you think about them?
Well, I've never been interested in them because I've never needed that, so I've never really looked into them. I mean, you shouldn't have to pay a lot of money to do this. This is something that's an innate ability. I mean, if somebody spends some time, one-on-one training you and coaching you how to do it, that might be worth some money. But I mean, I'm not sure that's how they do it. I know. I guess like Bob Proctor, Robert Proctor. He's on The Secret, and I've seen a lot of things come my way from him just because I typed his name before. And there's some other guys that were on it. I guess they're selling that. I mean, I don't think that you need to do that. I mean, if you do that, manifest well yourself. Just manifest what you need to come in your life another way. I mean, or whatever way that they like to say the universe. I'll say God. That God can bring it to you. I mean, be a path of least resistance for it to come to you.
Okay. Well, Tim actually works with Bob Proctor with a program. All right. That
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll have like the pros and the cons because he thinks
Yeah.
that. Well, he coaches
Well,
you.
I'm not speaking against him.
Yeah, but I like to compare the difference. I think anybody can be teachable. Anybody
Yeah.
can be teachable. You agree?
Yeah, I do. I mean, that's the thing is that, Shoshin is a term from the Chinese martial arts called beginner's mind. You establish that beginner's mind or the nature of a child, you can learn anything. That's what you need to do to be open up with questions, curiosity, that opens up your mind to all the possibilities that you haven't experienced before. But if you say something's not possible, if you make an affirmative statement, especially with emotion, that can close that door because your subconscious is going to do what you tell it to do, and it'll either bring something in or prevent something from coming in.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this question. Do you believe that you can cause things to happen to you?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna give you an example. The other day, when I was sitting with a patient of mine, right? She was talking about the air conditioner, and I said, look, let's not talk about the air conditioner. We're not supposed to talk negative. We're supposed to talk positive. So I came
Yeah.
home, and when I came home, I woke up, and it was hot as hell in here. You know what it was, don't you? My air conditioner
Air
went
conditioner.
out. So what do you think? You think that
Yep.
I caused that?
Yeah. I think so. I mean, you see, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's positive or negative. What you focus your mind on is what's going to unfold. And I mean, there's techniques to help it for somebody to open their mind up to that curiosity and to do that. But we do we do this naturally all the time. We just don't realize that we're doing it. When we get, you can call in a car accident. You can call in, ill health. You can call in all kinds of stuff because we tend to focus on that. I remember my mom was always like, we got to be prepared for the negative things. And then all this negative stuff happened to her whole life because, well, she's focused on the negative. You want to focus on what you desire, not what you don't desire. It's like if you got something that's bugging you negative, look for the silver lining within that and focus on that because that's what you want to receive. You can use the negative stuff, just contemplate it as quickly as you can and said, okay, I don't want that, I want this. So that you can focus on what you want and put that in your mind of what you desire to have come into your life.
Very interesting. So, because I've been talking to you now for it'll soon be a year. And what I've learned from you, the mouth, the mind, and the feeling. The mouth, the mind, and the feeling. I don't hear people say anything about the mouth. They don't say anything about the mouth. But I think whatever you say, because I'm a Baptist, I'll always be Baptist, but I've taken some courses in world religion. So, with that being said, we're taught to confess the word. Claim it, whatever. But the confession of the word is good. And I still feel, this is how I feel today. The mouth and the mind and the feeling cause the things to go into manifestation. Do you agree?
Yeah. See, the way I look at it is in Genesis 1:26, at the creation of humanity, the first one, it says, let us make man in our image and, give him, and talk about giving us dominion. We have dominion, and as dominion, it means we are sovereigns. Each of us are sovereign beings, and, we need to learn how to exercise our sovereignty in a way that benefits us instead of takes away from us. We tend to be taught to focus on the negative, and that's what we bring into our lives. You talk to some old people, and they start talking about their aching bones and joints and all these things are breaking down, and they got more of it coming in their lives. But if they change it, talking about how Bessie over there, she got better the other day. Isn't that wonderful? Appreciate the things that you desire to come into your life. You appreciate what Betsy, that she did that thing with her mind and it came in there. Isn't that damn cool? That's awfully cool.
Exactly.
And you get excited about it. That emotional part kind of helps. Helps it manifest further. Like when I was talking about my dad when he passed away, at the funeral, everybody was sobbing and crying. They were emotional. I was like stone cold silent, and I thought maybe something was wrong with me because I love my dad just as much as anybody else. But then, after a moment, there is like a little room behind me opened up, and my back was against the physical wall. There's no physical room behind me, and on the other side of the wall was outside. But so this was like a spiritual room, and on the other side of that room, a doorway. Now I'd call it like irising open, but it opened kind of like looked like science. I guess that may be what got me interested in science fiction. But it opened up, and my dad walked through there, and he came and he put his hands on my shoulders and comforted me. So I was like, no, he knew that I loved him just as much as anybody else did. But I think their emotion helped create that event. Emotion is a big part of it.
I believe so. I believe so. But like I said, no one talks about the mouth. I think
Yeah, no.
you got to learn how to. I know you have to be a watcher of thought, but you got to be a watcher of your mouth. I'm convicted of that now since that happened to me. Because I always said be a watchman of thought and control your
Right.
feelings.
Well, that's what a sovereign does. They speak something into existence. We're all sovereign beings, and what we speak comes into our existence and unfolds into our lives. It's not like it pops in, generally speaking, but most of the time it'll just come in there naturally.
Okay, I have another question for you. What about when people watch TV? You know, a lot of people watch TV. And they ask me why
Yeah.
I don't watch TV. Well, the reason I don't watch TV is I found that if I'm watching something, especially if it's offensive or they're saying curse words, that stuff get in your psyche. Do you believe that? And that can also control.
Yeah. Well, see, there's a lot of subtle stuff in those programs they'll talk about death and have you thinking about death and accepting that you're going to die one day. Well, I think that we're immortal beings and that we're playing this game here, and if we want to play that we want to die, then that comes in there. But it's just this. It's very subtle. It's like when they talk about. I mean, what show doesn't have death and mayhem going on, or police officers who are violating their oaths? And then we have that unfold in our lives. I mean, that's another, that our subconscious or whatever you want to call that will listen to that as well because we're focused and not focusing on that. So whatever we focus on, focus is a big part of it too. You focus on something and that comes near, that'll manifest. And if you're focusing on a TV screen, and there's always like emotional thing there because you wouldn't watch it if it wasn't funny or whatever that they try to design it to be for you. You have that emotion and you have a focus and you have this word being put into your mind for you, and that'll manifest. That's the same process. It's just somebody else sticking it in for you, and that might be against you or for you, depending. I mean, we're all focused incorrectly. We need to focus on what we desire, not what we don't desire. I mean, it'll show things like drug abuse. I mean, all kinds of criminal activity.
Okay. Very well put. Very, very indeed. Well, I know that you've wrote some powerful writings in our group called the Secret Knowledge Group on Facebook. Would you like to tell about some of the stuff you wrote in the Secret Knowledge Group?
Do you have anything in particular, or I can pull it up here?
I know you touched on sovereign beings, but you spoke something about quantum. I believe it was quantum law, quantum physics. I can't kind of. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, that was Tim. I think did that, the quantum law stuff.
You had a picture of a man, of a human body. You
Yeah.
did it a couple of days ago.
I'm scrolling down right now to see if we can find that.
Well, anyway, Bruce is one of our contributing people who work and put out powerful articles in the Secret Knowledge Group. All right. And the reason we call it secret, and I told you that if you listen to me on Anchor, is because of Psalms 91. Okay, because that is a Psalms of protection. And it's very secret because a lot of people don't know about it. And this is knowledge that we want to get to the masses. And Bruce has a powerful mind when it comes to that. Any kind of techniques you wanna give anybody that they can try for free, that they don't have to go to a guru for.
Yeah, I mean, it's like pick something that you would like to have enter into your life. It's going to unfold in your life naturally. It's not going to like pop in, not be there, but then all of a sudden start. It's something that'll come in through your everyday existence. Think of something that you'd like to have come in. Say, for example, say you want a dozen red roses. What you do is in your mind, and your mind will give it to you. So it's not like you have to do anything. It's just like in your mind, desire to see some roses. And once they pop in your mind's eye, just the same as it would, as if you wanted to see your mother's face, calling roses instead of your mom's face. And then what you do is you experience that as realistically as possible. Those roses, smell them, feel the thorns. Maybe it pricks your finger accidentally, so you feel a moment of pain. But then you smell the roses and you enjoy them because you enjoy roses. And then you just, after what, there'll be a sense or a feeling of completion. Then once you have that, just let that go. And then if you need to, you can do it even 2 more separate occasions. And then you just wait and watch some roses come into your life. And depending on how strong your emotion is, how close it'll come to you. If it's really strong emotional, you might have a friend or even maybe a stranger give you some roses because, they thought that you might need them or something. I mean, a myriad of different ways that can come in there. I don't want to limit, the way it might come to you. But if it's like light emotion, it might be just something you see on the television, a bunch of roses.
So when it comes to the emotion, how do you, if you've been doing that, say you want to, I don't know, say you want to manifest a debt to be paid. Say you got a hospital bill and you want this hospital bill to be paid. So you would just simply lay down and you say, do your mother's face, and then you think about the hospital bill, and then you think about how good it would be if the debt was paid, or you visualize somebody saying, oh, your debt's been paid.
Well, I mean, what you do is visualize the amount of the money of the debt. You don't focus on the debt. Bob Proctor, I like that. He said that too. Is you don't visualize on debt. Say you owe $2,000. Well, focus on the receiving the $2,000. You put it in your mind of maybe like a check. You'll go visualize yourself a little movie in your head. Going down to your mailbox, and you'll check in your mail, and all of a sudden there's this one weird letter you didn't know, and then you open it up, and it's a check in your name for $2,000.
Okay, very powerful. Okay, well, we're trying to do something. We're not going to say what it is, but you and Tim and I are planning something, so I guess we better manifest on it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how you do that. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, you heard from the master over there. I'm going to let him say some couple of last words, and then I'm going to chime, and then we're going to end this broadcast. All right. Any final words?
Well, the thing is we want to do is get that playfulness back, the nature of a child. I mean, that's what in the Bible Jesus talked about. You have to have the nature of the child in order to enter the kingdom of heaven. That's what we're trying to do when you're doing that. And the nature of a child is to be curious, to set aside bias. I mean, if you have to, doing this in a meditative way you can during a period of time of your period of time of meditation, that you set aside all bias and all things that cannot happen, and allow things to unfold into your life. And that's what gets us, is we're so trained to reflect, just to automatically that kicks out of someplace, of a negative belief. We have to work on our beliefs so that we can receive these things. That's the biggest thing to put out of the way. And that the easiest way is to play like a child. A child does play. So play with this. Playfulness will open up your mind. And you'll be able to do this.
Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being with us. This beautiful soul is... Tell them your name. Bruce?
Bruce Petersen.
Of the Secret Minds, the Secret Knowledge Group. And I am Rose Williams. And I am a contributor as well as the head of the group. So if this information resonates with you, let us know. Go ahead and drop Tim a line. Tim is one of the contributing editors. Bruce Petersen, myself, or either Tim Ayala. All right? Thank you so much for being with us. And we'll talk to you real soon. Say bye, Bruce.
Thank you. This was fun.